Thank you.
Morning, guys. If I can just, I'll just grab the screen a sec and just take that. I just wanted to, I just wanted to talk to you this morning about. I thought I'd pose the question, which is something that I've been looking at a lot lately as we started our new business, QB Rooms, and that's selling versus serving. And I thought I'd pose a question and talk about the two extremes, if you like, because I started my sales career way back in the mid 1980s, and that was I spent I spent my early days first of all selling timeshare, and then selling kitchens and even some water softeners. But then I come across double glazing, and I don't know if any of you guys saw the White Gold program. Did you see that? That was on BBC 2 or 3 years ago. It was a bit of a comedy drama, but it was pretty close to what it was like back then in the 80s, basically. I joined a window company called Zenith Windows, and I stayed there a number of years, over 20 years, and I progressed and ended up as the MD. And we built it up into a group of companies, and we ended up floating it on the stock exchange in 2014 as N2 PLC. But my first experiences were how I was trained in sales and direct sales was really old school, basically focused on getting the deal, proper Glengarry Glen Ross for anybody that remembers the movie. These were the things that were drummed into me from a very early time by my first sales managers. Never prejudge a lead. There's a sale in every house. 7 no's equals a yes. Not exactly consensual selling, but it was the way it was done. Buyers are liars and always be closing. They were the things that we built the business on back then, basically. And it was a different era, but it worked. And we, like all direct sales, we built it into a very strong business. And if you remember the old Glengarry Glen Ross competition, first is a Cadillac, second is a steak knives, third you're fired. That just about sums up what the aggressive, driven, urgent sales was like back when I first started. But one thing's for sure, over the years, that has swung hugely as far as sales is concerned, and the internet I believe has obviously played a massive part in that, and it's changed the balance between businesses selling products and services and the consumer purchasing them. Businesses like Amazon, Trustpilot, Google has totally transformed we buy as consumers, and we've got so much more information now at our fingertips. So with the direct sales companies that I was involved in, it was very much about push marketing, and push marketing to us pre-digital was very much proactive. We had 70 branches at our peak, 700 sales agents, 1,500 telephone canvassers, and 700 door canvassers. So it was very much a business where you got out and got the business on a day-on-day basis. You started on no sales and you made it happen. And that was the focus of our sales. And basically what the customer understood, by and large, when they got other quotes, it might change things, was the understanding you gave them. And obviously that has come full circle now. And today it's much more understood that it's about drawing consumers and customers to you. Pull marketing through search engine optimization, through reviews, through social media, content marketing. Customers are so much more in control now, and they decide the products that they want to purchase in their own time, in their own way. And I saw a statistic the other day when I was pulling this together that just sort of blew my mind when I saw it was that one. 3.7 billion active social media users now on the planet. Half the people on the planet use social media on a regular basis, and that is just an incredible, an incredible figure. So, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, when I've got involved in coaching, particularly, and coaching around mental health, obviously my focus has turned from selling to serving. So that's when I decided to get involved and start a sales business again, sales and marketing and installation business again with QB Rooms. We definitely came together, myself and my co-directors, and decided that we wanted to turn that on its head and approach everything we do from a service point of view and not a sales point of view, which is great. This is what we've found over the last 6 or 7 months. It's great as a vision when you start the business, but what I'm finding personally, as we grow the business and get it off from a startup and bring in the first orders, it's one thing saying that's your aim of wanting to serve and make customers at the center of everything you do and make your business very customer centric. But where you get tested on that, I think, my personal view and what I'm learning is your day-to-day decisions. And even obviously, I think everybody these days works on the basis when you start a business on the whole idea of a minimum viable product and lean startup. But even that, and as much make sense as that makes, involves taking literally what it says on the tin, a minimal viable product and service to the customer. That in some ways means that right at the beginning, it's almost certainly won't be the finished package. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's something that we've been focusing on as we've put QB Rooms together. And what I thought I'd do, which to explain that is give you an understanding of how we've tried to do it in terms of QB Rooms, basically, and the experience we've had so far. And I'd love to get your feedback and your input. For us, it certainly means starting the business off ahead of the social proof we need. We've just got our first installations going through at the moment, testing out supply chains and our processes, but ahead of the social proof that you need on your website and to convince people of real life photography, videos, case studies and reviews, stuff like that. We've obviously had to move forward with push marketing from a digital perspective. Yeah, Google, Instagram, Facebook, driving traffic to the website, which is a learning experience. And already, since we made our soft launch at the beginning of April, our website is transforming and changing all the time and evolving all the time. And these are some of the things. I don't know if you guys have come across it. Something our marketing director introduced us to that has already been invaluable. a platform called Try My UI. Have you come across that platform? We've found it very useful. It's a platform where you can go on, and they obviously match businesses wanting to get UI research with consumers out there. Yeah. And it's great because it's pretty cheap. The first 5 you can do for free, basically. And then if you sign up, I think it's about 85, it's $99, about 80 quid a month or something. And you get 5 user feedbacks every month. And the idea is that you can give them the consumers a brief. They're interested in the products that you're offering, so they get paid, I think, $10 to go through the exercise, because it lasts about 15-20 minutes each. You give them a brief of questions, what you're asking for. You put your website up there. You can put some competitor websites up there, and you get some great feedback. You get it all in video. It's about 15-20 minutes long each. You actually watch them going through the websites, what they're clicking on, and their commentary as they do it, and they give you a summary at the end. And it's certainly been really useful for us as we've started to evolve. Be brutally honest, so far, in the last couple of months, we're doing it on a relatively small basis as we test and iterate. We're just about to launch the marketing again, because we pulled it back, because the first 4 to 6 weeks of our first iteration, we drove about 4,000 people to the website, landing page views over about 6 or 7 weeks, and wasn't converting much at all into what our conversion was looking for. At first, and again, this is something that we've learned, at first I was going old school and looking to convert into a form fill, where I was then thinking, all right, we'd then phone them back and arrange a video call to design their garden room. But we've since switched that back on the feedback we've had to setting up a Calendly on the website that you can see, where we make it a lot easier for people to click on and book a video consultation or book a shorter chat if they want to. Yeah. So these are the sorts of things that we've picked up so far, and it's all about being customer driven. These are the things that they've fed back that they're looking for. Fast delivery in our sector at the moment, that's crucial, because there's such a demand for product at the moment. Some of our leading competitors, one called TGI, which is probably TGO, the Garden Office, and Green Retreats, probably the biggest on the market. They're quoting about 6 or 7 months at the moment from placing your order to fit. So fast delivery is a big one. Customizable range. This is something, again, with an MVP that we're finding. We obviously wanted to start with the minimum product, so we put out 4 styles over about 6 or 7 different sizes. But we're learning very quickly that people, yeah, they like the look of the styles, but they want to add certain things on, like they want to change the decking, or they want to put the windows in a different place, or whatever. So customizable range is something that we responded to. Expert installation, dealing with the whole thing from start to finish. And what we've put together is a design portal that I'll show you in a moment, that if people want a video design, a consultation, we just send them a link. They log into their own portal, and they can put basic information in there, and that's what we take them through on the course of consultation, and that portal becomes their quotation. Yeah. So this is all that we've learned from putting on a short video explaining the portal, why QB rooms, and the whole idea is very clearly, whereas before sales was about getting in front of somebody, sitting them down so you could pitch them and look to build desire in a product and close them if possible there and then. It's very much with serving all the information to the customer now to give them the decision to whether they want to take it further or not. So on the website, we've got these visuals. Again, that's something that we've done. We've upgraded the visuals ahead of getting the live photography, putting in guide prices, but then you can click through and literally look at all the different styles, the finishes you want, and then just choose what style you're looking at, the external finish, whether it be timber or whether it be a hardy plank, which is a concrete composite for low maintenance. And it gives you all the pricing. So that's the idea now, is to give them all the information. And if we create enough interest and build enough desire, at any time, they can go there and they can book themselves in very easily, a click of a button, to do a design with myself at the moment, because I want to get a feel for how the process goes and the feedback we get from the customer. Make it very easy for them to do that, basically. So if they book a design, they then have access to their own place on their on the portal, where they can tell us how big their garden is, where their fuse box, all the key information. If we was going to install it, we'd need to know what the access is. And they've even got an opportunity straight from their phone to be able to upload pictures of their garden, where it's going to go, what their access is like, etc., etc. So the whole idea is that all the information they need is at their fingertips. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah. Yep. And then we can take them through the different designs. Again, the finishes, they can see them in more detail, and all the way through to technical drawings, showing them exactly what the size of the rooms are, what they can use them for, what they can fit in them, etc. So why choose QB in the first place? And then you can design your own room, basically, from the style that you want to the finish that you have. And as you do it, it's showing you the different sizes that are available and the prices, where you want to in down to where you want to position the windows, what way the decking goes, the color of the decking, etc. So down to internal finishes, and then delivery. Our delivery, we put that up there, so they put all their address details in. If the installation is within 80 miles, it's free. If it's over 80 miles, then there's a charge. But they see that all up front by putting that in themselves. So they end up then with their own quotation that gives them all of the information. Sorry, 7, obviously. Save that.
Okay.
So
all right.
They get that, they get the information. Let me just tell you why that's straight.
Got a couple of minutes, Gary, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. And then that's just not coming up there. I don't know why that gives them all the information, a breakdown of the costs and the payment terms, and that's held from. And then basically my point was, and why I wanted to show you that, and it hasn't actually come up, I don't know why that hasn't come through. There is no closing involved. Then that's down to them. That sits with them, and they click into it. They pay the £250 deposit through Stripe or through a bank transfer, and it puts them in control, basically. So that's where we're going with the idea of serving and not selling. That's what I thought. I'd open it up to you guys to explain, to contribute and see what you think of that. And that's the shift, I believe, that you need to do to deliver the right product and service in today's market. Yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best choice in for search engine optimization with the various QB websites for American football. But
yeah, I bet.
Okay, mate. Thanks. Back to you then, please, Gary. Sum us up, please. Where are we?
Yeah, it was a great conversation. I've loved it, and I've took a lot from it as well. Some of the key points, I think the human elements of it, that's what reminded me of and brought me back to, because obviously at the moment we focused on the website because that's where we draw the people into the funnel in the first place. But the human elements of it, I think just about everybody talked around trust and what that means. And and you're absolutely right. We do make assessments very, very quickly. And that's just what we do as human beings. We connect. It's as simple as that, or we don't, depending on what's going on for us a lot of the time, and not just for the other person. But I think, I don't know, I was listening to what you said, John, and I think whether you've got two extremes with the Wolf of Wall Street video that you showed, where that's literally trying to put a front of trust, trying to use the right words to put across to somebody that they would trust you. And I think it takes a lot more than that with most people these days. And I don't think that's something you can work on. Jim, you mentioned it, it's very much part of what you do. People just have to accept you, and while you can be open and honest, and I think that's the best way to be transparent, they will either connect to that or they don't a lot of the time, basically. And the less you have on your mind, the more chance there is of that happening. So I think that was great. Obviously, I picked up on Mike said, yeah, follow-up is definitely most important. We're not going to just leave it. We're going to give the consumer the choice, but follow-up is going to be key to be on that, to prompt them. How can we help them anymore, etc. The other key thing that you mentioned, Jim, was this whole thing about, which is what I said, that I think is going to be key to any business. Is one thing saying you're going to be customer centric. It's another thing. What does that mean? And what I've found trying to do for myself and my co-directors is challenging what that means on a day-to-day basis. Even when you're taking key day-to-day decisions and you'll say something and it points more towards the bottom line and making a profit, and like the words you just said, Jim, well, where does the consumer, where does the customer stand in that? Yeah, and I think that is so important as we develop it. And obviously for the end product that we give, the installation, the product, that's going to be all important to us, is how we install it, what we do, how do you go that extra mile to make sure that when you've delivered that product, that it meets their expectations, basically. And that's the bit that I'm keen to focus on, that it isn't just enough, that it goes more than that. And if that costs you some margin and costs you some profit in the short term, then as far as I'm concerned, that's a price that you pay. But you've got to put that into practice on a day-by-day basis. So those were the key things that I took out of it. On the bigger picture, yeah, I think Mike brought it up. It'll be fascinating, the decisions we have to make as businesses now going forward. Now the support that a lot of business took advantage of, bounce back loans, C-bills for the bigger business. It's about that time now where if you took one of those loans, you've got to make decisions on what you do about that. And you've obviously got lots of decisions, whether you want to defer it, pay the interest only, take it with the BBL, take it from 6 to 10 years, etc. And what the implications of that. But what I've found from a business point of view, and that's coming back to the mental health point of view, it's not only the actual decisions you've got to make, it's what that does to you from a mental health perspective. And how are we going to come out of this, and what do we do to guide our businesses out there, and what effect does that have on you as an individual basis? I think that's going to be all important. And the rest of it, well, every day is just incredible, isn't it? The chaos that's coming out the travel side of things at the moment is just incredible. I mean, why somebody can't make a tough decision and say, right, we either open or we don't. We've got to support that industry at the moment. But the knee-jerk reactions, and that this morning I heard they was talking about potentially putting Portugal back into an amber listing. You can't run an industry like that. It's crazy. And then most importantly, the education piece that came up yesterday, Kevin Collins resigning. I mean, when you're not talking about a small mismatch. You're talking about a guy that's looked into it, that's got decades of understanding education, saying it's going to take 15 billion to put this right, and the government turn around and say, well, 1.5. It's madness, but that's what we've got to navigate our way through. So yeah, enjoyed it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gary.